Welcome back to another episode of 50 Shades of NBA Pod. I'm Nathan.
I am Trey.
And we are on episode number 34. So you already know what that means. It is the Giannis Antetokounmpo podcast today.
The Giannis.
And there's obviously a plentiful other NBA players, but we're sticking with Giannis.
Just Giannis.
I'm sticking with Giannis. Yeah, Giannis only dude to wear number 34
for the
which
Bucks.
It's fitting. Yeah, because we're the only podcast that ever exist.
That's true. Actually, I did hear through the grapevine there is one other podcast.
Oh, yeah? What is that?
Pick Swap Media by Sean Bernard.
Oh, you know what? I have heard of them. Shout out Pick Swap Media. Shout out Sean.
You see they
he gave pretty good publicity with the TikTok Trey made. It was very cool. Highlighted. I'll let you talk about it. You made it. You're the creator. It's your birth child.
It is like 40 some photos of every Sixer who lived and died for the process to fly. I made it before Game 6, and then they did it, and then they did it again in Game 7, and now it just makes me sad.
Now it just makes you sad. Understandably so.
I was as it got posted, right? I noticed there were so many people left off of there because there's just so many players who came through the Sixers in the past 7 years. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, this is wild. I had Furkan Aldemir on there, and people were like, "You missed Alexei Shved." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Alexei Shved, my bad. I forgot he did play 17 games."
Oh my god, dude!
It's crazy things, and there were players that I couldn't include. I didn't include Ben Simmons on there, even though I really wanted to because he is such a big part of the process. But I wanted to keep it positive before Game 6.
That makes sense. Obviously, afterwards of Game 6, it wasn't as positive, so maybe Ben Simmons would done something, or at least forecasted what you should expect.
Yeah. Speaking of the Sixers, should we talk about it?
Yes. We got to get into it. It's on our list here, but they went to a Game 7 against the Boston Celtics after having a 3-2 lead against them, and I can't picture it or classify it as anything other than, I think, a collapse on the Sixers' part. And obviously that led to a Boston Celtics win in Game 7. They advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Trey, I want to hear, as our resident writer for the Sixers, resident Sixers fan, just your initial reactions watching the game, because you watched the whole thing. What were you thinking watching it, and your thoughts afterward?
Well, if we think about it as a roller coaster, right? The first quarter, I was super, it started out all right. It started out, a little bad, a little on the bad side. There was I believe an 11-2 run to open the game for Boston. But then the 76ers stormed back with 8 straight unanswered. And it was really good in the first half. PJ Tucker was killing it in the corner. Boston was leaving him open, so it was rough for them. PJ was, I believe, 3 for 4 from 3. He ended up with 11 points in the first half. That was really great. Joel and James hadn't really come to life yet, but it was looking good. It looked like everyone else was stepping up. DeAnthony Melton was just chasing down every single board imaginable the entire time. Really just doing the work, putting the work in, and then we went into halftime, I believe, trailing by 2 or 3.
It was
it was a hair's width. It was very close. Super fun game. And even then I was just like, man, I'm so proud of my Sixers for not just putting a dud out there, because they're looking solid.
Yep.
The third quarter then happened. Jayson Tatum looked into the heavens of white Boston fans. Also, hold on, little side piece here. So if you if you were watching the game, they would sometimes zero in on the fans. There were approximately 2 different times in the entire game where I could see a fan who wasn't either related to the Celtics players, and just what like every single time it was just a group of like 18 white people, like just cheering. And then at one point they zoomed in, and then on the top right corner you could see a black guy, and you're like, whoa, like in Boston gear, and you're like, maybe there's hope. God. And there wasn't. Because the next one, they showed one more. They showed a young man. I don't know what his ethnicity was, but he was clearly not white. No Celtics gear, but he was clearly rooting for the Celtics. And then they showed one more person. And it was just Jayson Tatum's mom, we later found out. So that's all the non-white people that I found in the crowd of the Garden. So
yeah, watching the game, the Celtics do have a very Caucasian fan base.
It's the most Caucasian fan base I've ever seen. That's not like a knock against them. It's just a fact. I would like to claim. Yeah, no, it is. It's just a fact. I'd like to claim that the Utah Jazz have not
more
even
diversity
close.
in their.
Yes.
Yeah, in their fan base. At least when I went to the Jazz game, this was like 2-3 years ago. That's what I saw. Granted, still not a whole lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's Utah.
More than what I saw in the telecast.
It was crazy.
I digress.
It was crazy. That being said, Jayson Tatum looked into those sea of Caucasians, looked past the Caucasus Mountains, saw God on top, and decided to go off for I think 800 points in the third quarter alone. Is that right?
Damn
Someone
near.
fact check me.
Yeah.
No, it was a 35-11 third quarter for the Celtics against the Sixers. And once that happened, once James Harden had like his 8th turnover of the quarter, once Joel Embiid turned the ball over for his 14th time or got blocked for his 8th, it was over. After Tyrese Maxey missed his 11th three of the quarter, actually I think of that possession, it was over. It was really that. It was done, man. I held out hope in the fourth. I'd seen this team come back from not bigger deficits, but, deficits. I've seen them come back for deficits all year. And they just didn't. They just simply didn't. I remember watching an uncontested three from Tyrese Maxey just like barely touch a rim. So that was awesome.
Jesus.
No hate to literally any of the players. It was just everyone got into a slump at the same time. And I want to give literally all of the flowers I possibly can to Jayson Tatum for having the I'm him moment. He dropped 51 points.
It was huge.
A Game 7 record, I do believe. And I can't dispute it. Like, he was him. It was insane.
He was him and then some.
With the 76ers,
undisputed.
I love the 76ers. I thought PJ Tucker played great. PJ Tucker played great. DeAnthony Melton played pretty good. Far from, outstanding, amazing DeAnthony Melton stuff, but overall was a net positive, I think, on that game. Tobias Harris, want to shout him out. Absolutely.
Yeah, he had positive. A good game too.
Defensive mind, was locking up every once in a while. They switched him off of Tatum at one point, or he kept getting on switches where he would cover Al, and then Joel would have to come out to the perimeter to guard Tatum. And at third, that was rough. That was really sad.
Yeah, that was really rough. Tatum just took advantage of Joel every time he had that matchup.
And it's like, even every time. Like
it's not like Joel was playing bad defense either. Like, he was staying in front of him, contesting shots. It was just Jayson Tatum would not miss.
The contest was there, and it was just, I was just sitting there watching, and I was like, man, I really wish we had someone who was an all-NBA defensive stopper, like, I don't know, Matisse Thybulle of the Portland Trailblazers.
Maybe.
It'd just be cool. It's not like that guy shut down Steph Curry.
Would help.
Oh my gosh. Of course, I was rocking the Matisse Thybulle jersey for that game.
I respect it, as you should.
I might burn it now.
Ooh.
I
don't know if you
I would never
go
do
with
that.
the yeah.
I would never
not
do
for
that.
Tees, not the Tees jersey.
I would never burn a jersey.
Although I was gonna say if you were to a Sixers jersey, possibly look to do the Harden one because Harden was a no-show
Harden was a no-show
in Game 7, and I don't know. It's discouraging to see because that's kind of been like his MO when it comes to the playoffs is when you need him the most in like the clutch and closeout games, he's just non-existent or he disappears.
James Harden is just Avatar
MVP
Roku.
that he is. Yeah.
He's just Avatar Roku. When the world needed him most, he vanished.
He really did. I mean, he finished game 7, an elimination game, with 9 points. 9 points.
It was bad, man. It was really bad. And
yeah, it was terrible.
Like, I struggle to put this loss on any one person, right?
No, I don't think you can.
Like, James Harden,
you should either.
He wasn't good. But he should have had at least 8 more assists off the open threes he generated. Joel Embiid wasn't good, but he's still like the most impactful player on that court. On the Sixers side.
Yeah, for the Sixers side.
He had a bad game, but there's no point where you should ever go, yeah, we're gonna stop. We're gonna sub out Joel because he's playing poorly. Like, there's always that chance. Yep. Like, Joel has to be there, and I don't want to blame Doc. I feel like Doc coached really well that game. There's just a point in time where it's not falling, you know? You're not getting anything. I watched James Harden and Joel Embiid tried to run. It's not even a play. It's how they set up a play is they have James drift slightly to the right, so like right center 3, and then he just throws it to Joel in the post at the top of the left corner of the paint. I watched that play get stopped 4 times in a row.
Jesus Christ.
And I know for a fact that like Doc's not necessarily calling that, but that's just how so much of their offenses ran through is getting Joel that ball there at the high post.
Trying to get that look.
And let him get to work. And the few times that it did work, it was Al Horford had his number. Yeah. When Al Horford retires, Joel Embiid will have the easiest path to a championship of his career.
That's fair.
Marc Gasol's already gone, Horford, so keep pushing.
Yep. I was going to say Horford, just out of spite, might just hang around as long as Embiid's in the league.
And clearly, like, they don't dislike each other. Like, clearly they are on some level in a good space, whether that's from, mutual respect of both of their games, because let's face it, they're both really freaking good basketball players, or if it's based off of the 1 year Al Horford spent in Philadelphia, which is the worst season of Sixers basketball I ever watched in my life.
Fair enough.
How do you put Al Horford, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons in one starting line? What are you doing?
It's just gross to think about.
What is that decision
right
making?
Now? Like I was gonna say, I don't know why you would look at that and think that's gonna work.
4 years, $102 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Why didn't we re-sign Jimmy Butler?
That's we could go off on a tangent on that anytime, because I think that's definitely a blunder in that decision. And the next year when Jimmy played the Sixers, he came off the court after a game. He's like, chose Tobias Harris over me. Tobias Harris over me. But I think that's definitely how that decision had the whole league thinking.
I love Jimmy Butler so much.
I love him too. Looking at, like, obviously the Sixers lost Game 7. They did end up letting go of Doc Rivers, and I know you just got done saying it wasn't any one dude's fault, which I agree. Do you think it's fair to let go of Doc in this situation?
There are reasons to fire Doc as a coach.
Yep.
None of them are to do with that Game 7 loss. If you want to say Doc Rivers is the reason we don't have Isaiah Joe and Charles Bassey on the team, yes. He refused to play them, despite everyone knowing that they could play. He refused to play them when, specifically Isaiah Joe especially, is like the definition of what the Sixers need. A sharp-shooting 3-point shooting guard. Off-ball guard. That's it. That's what the Sixers need.
Yep.
And they just didn't have that this year. Or any year where Joe was just chilling on the team. Especially after the Seth Curry Ben Simmons for James Harden trade. So that's rough. If you want to say it's because of poor rotations for the regular season, okay.
Yeah.
I agree. He tends to overplay his starters in the regular season. I know James Harden averaged 44 minutes per game in the first 3 games of the season this year for no reason. I believe Joel Embiid averaged 42, and Tyrese Maxey averaged 39. I think Tobias Harris at that point was averaging 37. There's a refusal to look at his bench. There's a refusal to trust young guys. He wouldn't have given Tyrese Maxey a chance if it hadn't been for Ben Simmons saying no. You can look at how he tries to change players. For example, how he makes Shake Milton into a point guard. And that killed Shake, in my mind. You can look at how he killed other players, like how he turned Furkan Korkmaz into a point guard, which killed Furkan Korkmaz, in my mind.
Fair enough.
You can look at his over-reliance on certain guys and veterans when we have other help, like when he was like, let's get DeAndre Jordan or Dwayne Dedmon, which isn't just him, obviously, but he still has them play significant minutes. There was a point in time where DeAndre Jordan was starting games in the regular season for us. So that's crazy. There's also times this year when Montrezl Harrell was starting. So that's also crazy.
Fair enough.
I'm happy that I didn't have to see any Montrezl Harrell playoff minutes this year, but I was really worried about that.
There's some bright side.
I think this was Doc Rivers' best coach year as a Sixer, and so does a lot of other people. I know Sean Bernard has said this multiple times, and he said something the other day that I thought was very intelligent. It was if Daryl Morey was able to look at this objectively and decided that parting ways with Doc Rivers was best for the organization, then it's justified. Yeah. But if he in any way is doing this out of a knee-jerk reaction to a Game 7 loss that is way more on the players than it is the coach, it's not okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I know when I saw Doc Rivers got fired, to me, it was kind of like Mike Budenholzer getting fired and similar situation, because it seems like every single year Doc would be on the hot seat for the Sixers, inability to advance past the second round in the playoffs. So that's what it seemed like to me, that he was just buying himself time based off how he would perform either in the playoffs or in the regular season. And if he didn't win a championship this year with this Sixers squad, I think regardless, he probably would have been out.
Yeah.
Just because that's the reality of it. How I see it from the outside, like I'm not following the team as in depth as you are, but as a third party, NBA consumer, that's just kind of the gist I had, because there's always reports like players oftentimes have a hard time being with him just because of how he coaches. And like James Harden was asked after the game in the locker room if he enjoys Doc Rivers as a coach or yada yada as a person. He was like, yeah, he's all right, something like that. Like I get you just lost a Game 7, but you also probably want to show a little more enthusiasm when a reporter is asking you if you like your head coach.
They said
other than some grouchy.
They said, how is your relationship with Doc Rivers? And he said,
that's it.
It's okay.
Yeah, literally just like that. Yep.
And then there was a lot of news. This was also part of the knee-jerk too, is there was a lot of news coming out that James Harden was going to leave the Sixers in free agency this year, which we can get into here in a sec, if Doc Rivers was still the coach.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, we're going to kind of get into it. And the premise of all of this is whether or not it's time for Philly just to blow the whole thing up. There's been a lot of reports of Harden going to the Rockets, and Woj came out with something saying that it does look to be the case, or more likely than not, if Harden leaves the Sixers, the Rockets are going to be the destination that he chooses.
Yeah.
So Harden might be on the move. Doc Rivers is fired now. Obviously, you got to do a lot left with the roster. I don't know if Tobias Harris comes back. I think at the end of the day, whatever happens, obviously you have to build a better team, more complementary team around Joel Embiid.
If it's possible to.
If it's possible to.
If it's,
yeah.
I mean,
you're going.
If it's possible to, that's where we're at.
Mm.
I mean, under no circumstances would I ever trade Joel Embiid, short of if Joel Embiid goes, I want to trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think Joel Embiid represents the 76ers well. I think he's who we want in Philly. I think he's the entire.
Does.
He is the purpose of the process is to have a top 5, top 10 player on your team, and we have that. We struggled to find another one to put there, but we have that now. I think a really scary part of that report about, as a 76ers fan, about the report about Harden potentially going to the Rockets, right?
Yeah.
Is we've heard this report all year, and I've said again and again that if the Sixers pay James Harden's not going to leave, right? How do you pay James Harden after that?
Yeah.
How do you give him the max that he wants? Very bad
last performance to kind of go off of. Really last series to go off of.
Really
he had the 2 really good games in game 1 and 4 he had offensive explosions, but other than that, he struggled to find any consistency and be effective on offense. So, and you're not going to pay a dude max level money if he's going to show up for 2 games and be mediocre or less than mediocre for the rest of the time you're competing.
He was mediocre for one of them. The rest of them, he was below average.
Okay. I was trying to be nice, but
he was a detriment to the team. And maybe that's because of the coaching. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart. That's the thing.
I don't know. Honestly, though, I don't think anyone's that smart or else.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stuff respectively would have been figured out already. Like the people in the Sixers organization, watching the NBA, other execs aren't that smart because you see mistakes like these happen all the time at that level. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You just got to assume that given Harden's the precedent, the type of player that he can be and historically typically is, that he'd show up and perform and execute at the level that James Harden can. So
we know he could.
No, he could. But you literally just saw it 2 games ago. So
yeah. But the other scary part I want to get to about the James Harden leaving. If he goes to the Rockets, he doesn't owe us anything, and the Rockets have the money outright to sign James Harden. Like he would leave for nothing. We wouldn't even have money. Like that's the sad part.
Yeah.
We would have $8 million in cap space if James Harden left.
Oh my God. Dude.
That's Dylan Brooks' money.
Dylan Brooks, new member of the Philadelphia 76ers.
I would throw up. I would throw up everywhere.
I'd do it for you. Yeah, I would too.
I think I'd have to. But we'd have Dylan Brooks. We'd have some okay-ish player. Like we couldn't even get a D'Lo level player. I think the hope would be
D'Lo's going to be 10 plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the hope is that if James Harden leaves, right? Preferably it be to the Suns. Whether we get Chris Paul back in a trade or we get someone else back in a trade that sends DeAndre Ayton to a third team. That's the hope, is that the Suns really go, we want James Harden, and we're like, okay, sign and trade, cool. Or that the Rockets, that James Harden be like, I'm not coming to Houston without a sign and trade, and like Kevin Porter Jr. and a first round pick shows up on Philly's doorstep. That'd be. You
need a lot to go. Need a lot to go your way though in those situations.
Honestly, I know the Rockets at. If James Harden does a sign and trade for us, I think realistically the 76ers could go Kevin Porter Jr. and pick 20 via it's the Rockets pick via the Clippers. And that's really our hope and our prayers here. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do anymore.
I mean, Yeah, it would at least leave you in a better spot than just nothing if he just decided to walk
Yeah, it's
cold
just
turkey.
it's
But
so rough out here, Nathan.
it is, and I feel for you. I'm glad the Jazz are at least in an easier state of the franchise
There's no star to get.
by yeah, wrap my head around. But so, do you think Tobias will still be on the team next year? Unless
I think.
Well, like, what teams do you think would be interested in him?
No team's going to be interested in his $40 million price tag.
Yeah.
The only way we get rid of Tobias is if we find a way to salary dump him, or if some team goes, "Hey, here's a bad contract that's less money but longer."
Yeah.
I think Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, like
Rudy Gobert and Joel Embiid on the same team.
We'd cut him. I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if Joel would deal with that.
I don't know. I saw someone today float the idea of trading Joel Embiid to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay.
And it would be Chet Holmgren plus, I think it was 2 future picks from the Clippers. And it was, I think it was their pick this year, but I don't remember where their pick this year was. Let me check my list over here.
Yeah.
I think it was a Clippers pick, and then
And Chet?
Pick 12, and Chet, yeah. Which was crazy to me.
Yeah.
But they said that it was have to be a trade deadline thing, and Chet would have to not look like as good as advertised, but
yeah,
they're still trying to contend. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just there's no way to trade Tobias without it being a dump. Maybe the Spurs would love a veteran leader. We know Tobias has that leadership quality. We know they're gonna
help him out with Victor.
We know they're gonna get probably the most hyped up draft prospect since LeBron. I mean, yeah, that's where we're at. Maybe the Mavericks want some scoring and want to get off of like Dwight Powell and Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract.
Bertans has a great contract.
He's on a 2-year, $17 million a year. That's a bad contract.
Maybe yeah, a bad contract.
But I don't want to take back $40 million in garbage players.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I would much rather pay a second or 2 seconds to the Spurs to trade away Tobias. Because honestly, man, this year's like if we had a max slot, just like in a dream world, we have a max slot. No Tobias, no James Harden. Let's say we get Kevin Porter Jr. back in the James Harden trade. Yeah. Kristaps Porzingis is like the best player on the market other than James Harden and Kyrie Irving. And they're both going to probably go to where we're saying they're going to go to. Kyrie's probably going to re-sign with the Mavs. After that, it's Kristaps. Let me flip over my little sheet here because on the other sheet I actually have the top 100 NBA free agents written down.
I love that.
Fred VanVleet, Kristaps, Chris Middleton, Nikola Vucevic, and then Draymond Green.
Draft class that I would be comfortable giving a lot of money to any of these dudes.
Kyle Kuzma, maybe. Jordan Clarkson's like a fringe top 10 player in this.
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes, Westbrook, Dylan Brooks, Miles Bridges, maybe if everything is done. Gary Trent Jr. is restricted. Wow. Austin Reeves is restricted. Then after that, it's Christian Wood. Like what are we gonna do with money this year? It's not like we're gonna have money next year either. Once we're out to buy his contract, because guess who's getting an extension this year? Tyrese Maxey. We know we're gonna max him out because he deserves it. Pay that man.
Yep. Trey, I'm sorry. That's all I gotta say.
I don't know what to do. I don't know. We don't have assets.
I mean, hearing this and looking at like the picture that you've painted for the outlook that the Sixers kind of have, I hate to say it because it's sports and anything could happen, but like this seems like if any year was the year for the Sixers to win, this would have been the best opportunity for him to do it. Especially with the Heat coming out, advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, not a juggernaut like some of us would have thought, like the Milwaukee Bucks. Not taking anything away from the Heat, because they have been tremendous all postseason with Jimmy and Bam, but that's not a team that scares you as much as, like the Boston team you just lost to. So, I don't know. I hate to say this was the year to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to get any easier whatsoever going forward for you. I wish you and all you other Sixers fans luck out there, but tough time.
That's the thing, though. It's sports,
It's sports.
No one thought we were going to get James Harden for Ben Simmons, but we did.
Touche. Mm-hmm.
Maybe we find a partner. I struggle to say I want this really bad. But if we found a partner for Tobias and James Harden left for nothing, I would be in love with the idea if Kristaps Porzingis was the 4 next to Joel. I'm not saying that they're going to play more than 55 games together.
But you would like it on paper.
It would look pretty.
It would look pretty on paper.
Joel and the guy we should have taken instead of Jaleel? Come on.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Full circle moment right there.
I
love you, Trey.
It's not going to happen because he doesn't want to ever play for the Sixers. That's the biggest thing.
Fair.
Is on draft night, the Sixers were like, "We want to take you," and he was like, "I won't do an interview with you. Please do not draft me."
Damn.
We were
Why
tanking.
the beef with Philly?
We were tanking.
Okay. There it is. That makes sense.
Yeah. The Knicks had 4 and Carmelo Anthony, so.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it was fine. He might want to play for us now. We love you, Kristaps. I'm a big fan. I'm a big Kristaps fan.
Let bygones be bygones.
Maybe if Chris Middleton really wanted to leave the Bucks, maybe he's in love with Coach Budenholzer and the Sixers. I don't know, man.
He's like, I'll go wherever you go, Coach Mike. Real quick though,
is the answer.
Who's your ideal coaching candidate for the Sixers though?
I am in a small minority. I say Kenny Atkinson is who I want.
Okay.
I love Kenny Atkinson. I think he's fantastic. I think he's wonderful. I have a lot of respect from him from the D'Lo Nets days. So I kind of wish we would get him. He's not even on the Sixers shortlist. It's Monty Williams, Mike Budenholzer, Sam Cassell, and Nick Nurse.
Okay. Yeah. I do like Nick Nurse a lot out of that list. I think my one, I responded to your tweet earlier today. My one is Monty, and then Nick Nurse. I don't like Mike Budenholzer.
No, I don't like Budenholzer either. If we get Budenholzer, we just have we just have a younger version of Doc Rivers' career.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. It's a lateral move.
It is. Best. It is. Unless it brings Chris Middleton.
Touche.
I don't know why it would. I don't know why it would.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
it's rough out here.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
It's rough out here.
Definitely is.
I think most realistically, we're going to get Mike D'Antoni.
Yep, that's fair.
He's, Daryl Morey's guy. He's James Harden's guy. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that...
In that case, do you think James Harden would stay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's a world where we get D'Antoni and Harden doesn't stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
that being said,
they're like
Sixers,
2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, the Sixers need to get a head coach now.
Mm-hmm. Don't wait till after the playoffs are done, finals, whatever. Might as well act now. If you have a guy that you really like, there's no sense of waiting around for someone else to interview him and maybe offer him more money.
Yeah, I think there's.
I'm with you on that one.
I think there's great options out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, we just highlighted 3-4 perfect. Well, not perfect.
Sam Cassell
great
is
candidates.
awesome. Sam Cassell's never had a head coaching job. I will say there is one sports book that has JJ Redick as the favorite to win the Sixers head coaching job.
Really?
I've heard no actual information outside of this one sports book just has them listed as the favorite, which is dumb.
That's interesting.
But yeah.
I also saw JJ Redick was a candidate for the Toronto Raptors position.
Yup.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't see the Sixers one. So shout out JJ.
It'd be weird if JJ was our head coach. I don't know what I'd do.
It really would be. I think he's still like too young.
Yeah.
Almost too like freshly removed from the league, and also he's never coached before.
Ever.
He coaches his son, so I think it'd be a much better decision for his success and organization success to at least introduce him as a assistant at first, and just PR wise, giving a job to a head coaching job in the NBA to some dude who's never coached at that level before probably wouldn't be the best look. But
yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think if we bring in D'Antoni and JJ Redick as an assistant coach and we're like grooming him to take over for D'Antoni when he retires, that's the way JJ Redick becomes a head coach for the 76ers.
Yeah, that's a much better path.
I like JJ Redick a lot. I think he's super basketball intelligent. I just don't know if I really...
He is. No, he's brilliant.
I don't know if I really want a head coach with almost no coaching experience.
No, I wouldn't either. Not yet. I'm sure his time will come, but
that being said, hey, maybe he's an undiscovered value and he'll bring a championship to the Sixers. Like he couldn't when he was a player, maybe he could as a coach, you know?
Wow. That's a storybook ending right there. But I do we're gonna move on from our Sixers talk if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
I think we covered them pretty well.
We covered them for the past 37 minutes. We're good.
Yeah. That's plenty of Sixers talk for y'all. We did highlight a very important piece of news for you earlier, and it's what the teams that weren't competing to be where they are or to be in the postseason right now, what they were competing for, and that's the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft to pick what everyone is assuming will be Victor Wembanyama. And the San Antonio Spurs happen to be the lucky ones to win that lottery. And that means obviously they have the number 1 overall pick. Number 2, Charlotte. 3 is Portland, right?
3 is Portland. 4 is the Rockets. 5 is Detroit. 6 is Orlando. 7 is the Pacers. 8 is the Wizards. 9 is the Utah Jazz. 10 is the Dallas Mavericks.
That's what's up. Okay.
10 is the Dallas Mavericks, which sucks for Knicks fans because this pick was top 10 protected for the Knicks. 11 was the Magic. Number 12 was OKC. Number 13 was the Raptors. And number 14 was the Pelicans.
That's awesome. Jazz jumped up because I'm pretty sure they're the 14th spot there. So that's awesome to see.
I think they were a little higher.
They're high. The teens, yeah. Anyway, we moved up. That's awesome,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But from those, I think Victor to the Spurs is probably the best possible landing spot for him, just to grow as a player. Like, you have a coach like Greg Popovich, who is obviously a Hall of Fame coach, and I don't know, there's no real issues like PR wise, and I think Pop does a great job as is developing players.
Yeah,
and I don't know, I'm very excited to see Victor in a Spurs uniform. Obviously, it's not going to be as flashy as maybe a bigger market like Houston or someone like that, but I also don't think a team full of young dudes in Houston, which there's reports of a lot of problems from a head coaching like disrespect perspective there already. I don't know if that's an environment for Victor to prosper. So just looking at it from that perspective, him going to San Antonio is probably the best thing he could have to start off his young and hopefully long career.
I think the Spurs are in the playoffs next year with Victor.
I mean, if he is what everyone says and what his highlights show, there's no reason that he shouldn't be.
He's so good.
You know?
He looks so good.
You're putting him with 2 20-point per game scores already with Vassell and Keldon Johnson. So
I do.
It's they don't have a big.
Yeah, he's gonna fit right next to Jeremy. They're gonna look really good together. I think it's gonna be even better when they trade for Tobias Harris as their 6th man. Free up some cap space for Philly. I really.
Y'all can get Doug McDermott.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. I really think the most interesting thing in this draft now, because we know Victor's going 1 to the Spurs, is what happens at 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Because the Hornets got the 2nd overall pick. What is the one position that the Hornets don't need to improve on, Nathan?
Point guard.
And who's the obvious number 2 in this draft?
Scoot Henderson.
Exactly. Who is a point guard.
Being mentored by Steph Curry as well.
That's so cool. I love really Scoot Henderson. That being said, I don't know if the Hornets are going to pick Scoot based off of fit. I don't know why you wouldn't. Just because Scoot, I do think is going to be upper echelon player, probably better than LaMelo Ball when all is said and done. But it's the Hornets. The Hornets are going to horn it. And Brandon Miller is definitely has a better projected fit next to LaMelo Ball.
He absolutely does, yeah.
He's basically like Paul George light coming out of this draft.
Yep.
He's not quite as good as defense. He's not quite as good as offense. But, he's not bad. He's solid. He's definitely the number 3 pick. Number 3 guy on my big board. So just for that, I don't know what's going to happen there. And does that mean Scoot falls to 3 to Portland, who also already has Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons? Are you going to add a 3rd guard? Or what are you going to do? Are you going to trade it?
I don't see a world where Portland drafts a guard, especially like you just said. If Dame stays on the team, they're not going to sniff a guard. Exactly. Not with the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah, they're not going to go for some unproven player who isn't a top prospect.
No. Honestly, it would make more sense for the Hornets to take Scoot, and then you can play around. Maybe LaMelo goes to a shooting guard. He has the height. He has the size to do so. And maybe he's not a traditional shooting guard in that way, but it'd be a little bit better. But at the same time, I don't know why they wouldn't just take Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I mean, Scoot's better. That's the big
He is
thing.
better.
I like Scoot more. I think he's going to be better. I think he is better. I think you can put Scoot at the 2 or LaMelo at the 2, and it works out fine. Just move Terry Rozier to the bench. But I just don't.
Or trade him. I don't know, man. Terry.
I don't know what Portland's going to do here. Because they came out, and we talked about it on the podcast months ago, that if they didn't get Victor, they were looking to trade their lotto pick. And they jumped up to 3, where there's a very clear top 3 here. So what are they going to do?
Time to put your money where your mouth is, I guess, with that. But also, it does kind of look like Miller could fall to them at 3, and I think he'd start right away.
Yeah, I mean,
have Jeremy Grant, bro, ahead of him. I think Grant's a free agent too this year.
He is.
So
I don't know.
He'd start right away.
But you got to think they also already have Shadon Sharp. They traded for Matisse Thybulle and Cam Reddish.
Yep.
Which they're.
Well, do you think? I think Miller would be a better player than Reddish.
Obviously,
and
absolutely.
Offensive, yeah,
absolutely. He's absolutely better than Reddish and
isn't Thybulle. Sharp's a shooting guard, isn't he?
Yeah, but they already have a shooting guard, so they've been playing him at the 3 because Dame, Anthony, Shadon, Jeremy Grant at the 4, and Yusuf Nurkic.
Because is Miller's like 6'8", 6'7". Could be a power forward, just a really scrawny power forward.
He doesn't have the body type for it. He's definitely a 3 or a way too big 2. You could probably put him at the 4 in a small ball situation, or if you really wanted to make sure that you had space for him. I just don't see a world. I don't know. I can see a world where Portland takes Jarace Walker at 3, the power forward out of Houston.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that would solve the fit.
It solves the fit
problem.
But I think it's a mistake for talent. I think they're better off trading for a proven commodity.
They could definitely trade back and pick them.
Let me talk you into a world here, Nathan, where they are convinced that having a playmaking point guard and Dame at the 2 is the secret to success.
Okay.
And Philadelphia has James Harden ready for a sign-in trade.
Okay.
And they send number 3 and Jeremy Grant back in a sign-in trade for James Harden.
Oh, okay. I think Dame would be happy. I don't think you would get 3.
I don't think I would either.
I don't know. If I'm Portland, I'd probably be letting my 2-year-old kid make that trade offer. In all due respect, but
league leader in assists, man. Come on, do the trade.
League leader in assists.
Do the trade.
I don't know if Dame gets behind that, bro.
Bro, I think Dame gets behind that.
Like James Harden, that's cool in the regular season, but
that's what they need it for. They need it for the regular season.
You know what? Just get him there.
Dame can take over in the playoffs.
Yeah, I respect the lofty wish. I really do.
I know it's not going to happen. But I do want the 76ers to trade back into this draft. They don't have a first or a second round pick this year. They lost their second round pick because of tampering with Daniel House Jr.
Classic.
Which, shut up. That's so dumb. You know for a fact tampering goes on. DeAndre Jordan signed in the first minute of free agency.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me there wasn't tampering?
Yeah.
Bite me.
I'm shocked that tampering, especially, no offense to Daniel House Jr., but for a Daniel House Jr. level player, that a punishment would be enforced.
Yeah.
When you just highlighted, obviously, bigger name players are tampering to get their contracts in the off season before that window opens up. But you know what? Got to be a Sixers thing.
It really is. The league hates Philadelphia.
I don't want you to be great. That's okay.
They don't. But I feel like I brought it back to the Sixers. We need to move on. I'm going to keep talking about the Sixers if we keep talking about the Sixers.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, we'll pivot to the Western Conference. We had a great game 1 of the Nuggets and Lakers. Before the game started, Trey and I were texting, and I said I like the Nuggets in 6 or 7, and that's what my mind tells me, my brain tells me, just roster wise and how dominant Jokic has been in this playoffs. That's where my brain's going. My heart really likes the idea of LeBron getting another ring, but I'm saying Nuggets in 6 or 7. Trey, you had different thoughts. I don't know if you want to share those.
Lakers in 5.
Yep.
Lakers in 5, which is crazy. Which is a crazy take. Don't bet on that. But Lakers in 5.
Yeah, you're much more confident in them than I am in that regard.
LeBron's the GOAT, greatest of all time.
I do have to say this is, in my opinion, I think one of his more impressive playoff runs. Yeah. Just outside of going to the finals, obviously, but very impressive. From going to the play-in to the Western Conference Finals, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And going up against teams like the Warriors, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, obviously a couple of them didn't show up when it really mattered, but at the end of the day, it's still the same Warriors team who historically has kept you from 3 rings?
Yeah.
And then the number 2 seeded Grizzlies, which they didn't get done, but still insanely talented.
Yeah, he's crazy. He went against Jaw. He went against Steph. He went against Dylan Brooks.
The DPOY, JJJ.
He went to Triple J. He went against Klay Thompson. He went against, Jordan Poole might have been playing for him. He went against Draymond Green. He went against Steve Kerr. Now he's up against Jokic, who, I'll be honest with you, is the MVP of these playoffs. He's definitely top 3 minimum.
I'd say 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Maybe Jayson Tatum is the other dude.
You're Jimmy Butler's my 3. Yeah.
Jimmy's my 3.
Jimmy's my 1.
Oh, okay.
Got that dog in him.
He has that dog in him. Yeah, I'm talking like a Great Dane.
Woof. That was my actual dog who barked, guys. That wasn't me. I didn't bark.
Hey, Madden, is that you? Madden on the mic?
Whoa, Madden on the mic. Good boy.
Trey and I were also talking before, and I think we both kind of settled on the idea that if the Lakers are to have success, Anthony Davis will have to not only put up big numbers on his own, which he did tonight. He had like 40, 10 and something.
40, 10 and 3.
Yeah, 40, 10 and 3 in 42 minutes. So obviously he got done on the offensive end, but defensively, Jokic still put up 34, 21 freaking rebounds, and then 14 assists.
Go grab a board.
21, dude, that's ridiculous. And AD's he's taller than Jokic and way more athletic than that dude.
Yeah.
Jokic notoriously has been known to not be able to jump over a credit card. It's just the type of athlete he is, tremendous basketball player, but you're telling me a dude who can't jump is grabbing 21 boards over you?
Bro, white man can't jump. Lakers are to have Jack Harlow?
You're so true. Hey, that comes out this Friday.
I know.
I'm going to watch it.
Me too.
Yep, I'm going to watch it. But now, if the Lakers want success, AD is going to have to step up big time defensively against Jokic. Mm-hmm. LeBron will do his thing. He always does.
Yeah.
I don't know. The bench will just have to continue to contribute. I think big games from D'Lo will help. Maybe AR-15 if he keeps cooking. But
Rui had a great night.
Yeah, he did. He had 17.
1 assist.
Trey's kind of bitter on that one.
Yeah, I had a bet. It was $5 to 130, and Rui just needed 1 more assist.
It's tough. You really do hate to see that.
9 leg 1 game parlay.
So close.
So close.
Oh, maybe next time. Do the same bet. Next time. Game 2. I don't know if those eyes you're giving me are like, oh, that's a great idea, or hell no. But to be determined.
I mean, it hit.
Yeah, okay. You know what?
It hit. Like what?
Oh, I was saying for the 2 assists.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, that's what
I'm never going to do a Rui 2 assist ever in my life, ever again.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more with that matchup. I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
No, not really. I did like to see the Lakers show resilience. They were down 21 at one point, come back. I think they pulled it within 3 or 4 in the 4th, so it was a very, very good game. I'm excited for the rest of the playoff series.
Yeah, it'll be a great series. I heard this earlier, watching something, but Aaron Gordon, from like this past decade, has one of the best defensive half-court ratings against LeBron, field goal percentage-wise.
Weird.
Which I thought was, it was weird because I don't really think of Gordon as being like a LeBron stopper. I know he's a great defensive forward, but didn't really ever think of him in that light. So shout out you, Aaron Gordon. But,
good on Aaron
that's
Gordon.
My piece with that.
What a king.
But we'll go back to the East. Not talking about your Sixers, but the Celtics and Heat. Who do you like in that matchup?
Give me the Celtics in 7.
Okay.
I think
I like that.
The Heat match up well, but I think at the end of the day, the Celtics are a deeper team.
They are.
I think that's really it.
You don't have to say too much more. That they're the deepest team left in the playoffs, and then no offense to the Heat, but I think they've outperformed everybody's expectations, probably their own, and their Cinderella story is kind of going to come to an end here. I don't see dudes, their role players, stepping up enough to overcome the likes of Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Rob Will, Marcus Smart,
Malcolm Brogdon,
Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. Like,
it's a deep team.
Those 6-7 dudes right there are good enough to start every one of them good enough to start on the Heat team. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Matchup wise, they're just much better team. Jimmy Butler will do his thing. He'll have a good series. Bam probably will have a good series for a couple games, but he's also a little suspect every now and then in the playoffs. But I like the Celtics in 6.
Celtics, we're both Celtics here, which makes me feel like the Heat are going to win just because we're doubting them.
You know what? And that's okay, because personally, I'd rather see the Heat.
I agree.
That's just me. We're going with my mind again. So we're going to get a Celtics and Nuggets.
Shut up. That's disgusting. Matchup. I wouldn't even watch that.
So gross. It's so gross to think about.
That being said,
what
the
media wants, they want Lakers, bro. They want the Lakers and Celtics.
I'll fly up. If it's Nuggets Celtics, I'll fly up to Denver, and we'll stand outside of the stadium because I'm not paying for a finals ticket.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, funny enough, there were tickets tonight for the Lakers Nuggets game for like $150. Or granted, they're nosebleeds.
Deal.
But $150.
Deal.
Yeah.
I would have gone.
Yeah. So who knows?
You could have worn your Rui jersey.
Thought about it. I could have. I would have. It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. You should, Nathan. I challenge you to make it to one playoff game.
Okay.
Yeah, make it to one playoff game and make some TikToks while you're there.
Oh, I'd make hella TikToks, bro. I'd probably go on TikTok live, damn near.
Yeah, you may as well, man.
Yeah, might as well. You know what? If I go to a playoff game for the Nuggets this year, I will go on TikTok live, and you can see it on 50 Shades of NBA podcast on our TikTok.
Yes, sir.
So stay tuned, maybe. If you would like to contribute, send me money. Send us money. So we can get that done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Last thing on our itinerary is Ja Morant. He again got in trouble with having a firearm displayed on the social media. I don't have a whole lot to say other than, bro, we've been through this. We've been through this with you, and the league's gonna hand you a much lengthier suspension. We'll just have to wait and see what it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I know Kwame Brown went on a whole tirade about calling him an idiot, and I'll be honest with you, if Kwame Brown is calling you out for your NBA career, you might be doing something wrong.
You done fucked up. Oh my gosh, I dropped the F-bomb. No, okay, yes! We're explicit.
I didn't make us explicit. It was Nathan. Again, like always.
Oh my
gosh. That being said.
Maybe it won't come up.
That being said, yeah, if Kwame Brown's lecturing you, you're doing something wrong. I do believe it was on one of his friends' Instagram lives again, which is, who are you surrounding yourself with, dog? Like, what is happening that this just keeps happening? Ja, of course, he was driving. It appeared that he was driving at the same time, which is, it just makes it that much worse. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going through his head, but someone needs to sit Demetrius down with his real nice parents, with that real nice marriage. And, you know, he went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. And they need to go sit down and have this conversation with Demetrius Morant and just figure out where his head's at, man. Because this is crazy, bro. You were raised in the suburbs.
The first time people were like, oh, okay, you know, he's young. He'll figure it out. He went to his 11-day rehab to hopefully, like, get on the right track. And then a couple of months later, you're out of the playoffs, a lot of free time on your hands. And what do? You flash the gun again. And the only reason why this is a problem, so legally, he hasn't broken any laws. He's in the state of Tennessee where they're a Second Amendment, like, abiding open carry state. So you can open carry per the Second Amendment and you don't need anything else. But the NBA is a third party. Yeah. The NBA is a third party private business. So they can really do whatever they want. And if they feel it is affecting their logo or affecting their shield and PR, then they can hand down whatever suspensions they want. So that's why it's an issue. Legally, he hasn't done anything wrong, but it's just all PR and visual thing with Ja Morant at this point in the firearm. So
I will say legally, he might be in trouble for not having his hands on 10 and 2.
Okay, touche,
Nathan.
That's what we'll give
you criminal
Mm-hmm.
justice major getting outsmarted by someone who just watches YouTube videos about laws being created.
I respect that.
Bam.
But
Adebayo.
there you go. Bam Adebayo. That's perfect. I'm excited to watch him tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game.
That's all I have.
That's all I got, man. And I am exhausted. It is currently 1:40 a.m. where I'm recording.
It's a late one. My siblings graduated today, so we celebrated with them. Graduated high school. Shout out Evan and Emma.
Shout out
Very
Emma.
proud of you.
Shout out Evan. That's it. That's all I had.
Till next time, Trey.
Hey, till next time. It's been real.
Been real?
It's been fun.
And fun.
But it ain't been real fun.
Damn, not for your Sixers.
Nah. I had to relive my darkest moments.
I love it.
All right, deuces.
Deuces.